Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tiki Talka. I'm Joseph. That's Travis. That's Billy. Here's a quick preview of what we're talking about today.
Let me just ask you straight off the bat, Billy. Is it coming home?
It's coming home. It's coming home, baby.
We'll see. This is a true winning team. I'm starting to buy into the fact that they could do it.
Tuchel discussed the strength of set pieces. On that basis, why would you then leave out Trent and Harry Maguire?
How far are they down on the pecking order where people are getting hurt and he's still bringing in other people out of position?
In terms of their England careers, are probably over, to be honest.
Should the England manager be English?
What English manager have we got that would bring it home?
I don't see what the big hype is around Saka.
I don't think Saka's in that elite world-class category.
If someone screams lack of aura and swag, I think it'd be Harry Kane. No offense to English, but he's about as English as it gets.
How does this team stack against the Golden Generation?
So on paper, probably not as good, but this team is a better team.
If the Golden Generation did have what this era does have, without a doubt, they would have won anything and everything.
All right, guys. So as you can see, today we're going to be going over England's chances at the World Cup. This is Billy, new guest. You guys haven't seen him before. Introduce yourself, Billy.
Hi guys, I'm Billy. Obviously, as you could tell from the voice, I'm English. Proud to be English, and excited to be with Joey and Travis today to discuss England and the World Cup.
So let me just ask you straight off the bat, Billy. Is it coming home?
Well, a really strong second half performance against Croatia made me really believe that we could. And I'm an optimistic individual. I think the country are, especially when England start playing football, when we start scoring goals, everyone's believing. So I'm going to say yes, it's coming home. It's a big shout.
I see why you believe that. I mean, everyone who was the clear favorites, going into this World Cup has been kind of, I would say, lackluster or disappointing. But do you think England can still has, the defensive ability to handle all the offensive firepower that is out there in Europe?
I think so, yeah. I think when you look at the team that we've got, and obviously I know there's some questionable decisions around the squad that's gone out to America. I think we will concede goals, but we've got a lot of firepower going forward. I think the performance of Harry Kane the other night was exceptional. And if he manages to get this England team to go to the final, I expect him to win the Ballon d'Or. And I know it's a big shout, but you look at his performances in Europe and for Bayern Munich, you kind of question who else could do it over the past 6-7 years. 6-7. Didn't mean to do that, but I have kind of gone off that basis of whoever wins the Champions League, the best player from that team wins the Ballon d'Or. And I think we're kind of going away from that. I think we're going back to that kind of individual performance where they can actually win their team titles. But again, we've got Jude Bellingham in the team who, as a Barca fan, it's not somebody I like to get behind. I'm definitely not a fan of his when he plays for Real Madrid. And to be honest, he's had a poor season to his standards. Not to say he's a bad player, but he's not performed well enough this season. But again, nobody really did for Real Madrid other than Mbappe. Looking at how he played in that second half, I've kind of got that feeling of he's back to his best. He's ready to kind of put some weight on his shoulders, as well as Harry Kane, as well as Declan Rice, who's gone and won the Premier League and took Arsenal to the Champions League final as well. So that core in the middle of the pitch is really, really strong, and I think that can really push us on to scoring goals and hopefully be a team that outscores goals. Because I am concerned about the defensive frailties of the team. You've got John Stones, who's a really experienced centre half, but alongside him you've either got Ezri Konsa or Mark Guehi. Konsa, in my opinion, is actually a really, really good player, like really underrated.
He was really, really solid.
Yeah.
At Villa, he's kind of just, he hit or miss on these games, but he just looked like a completely different player.
Yeah, he bullied the Croatians a little bit. And so that's good. And obviously Jordan Pickford is a big player for England. You can say whatever you want to say about him playing for Everton. He's never really gone on to anything better than that. But when he puts an English shirt on, he can be a really top goalkeeper. And from a penalty shootout aspect, which England will no doubt face a penalty shootout at a World Cup, I'd like to think he's one of the best keepers in the world for that.
I could say a lot about Pickford. I'm a Liverpool fan, so I could say a lot about Jordan Pickford. But when he does play for England, he's just a completely different man. When he's on, he's dynamite, but he's usually in between somewhere, being on and off. But he looked good to play when play Croatia in that first half. I thought he's for sure going to let something get through, and then he decided to lock it all the way down. Going back to what you said earlier about the squad decisions, leaving out Foden, which I can kind of understand. He didn't have a very good season. Cole Palmer, I think he played 20 games this season.
Yeah, he was injured.
How do you omit Trent? What do you stand by Tuchel? Just leave him out defensively? Yeah, sure. But what he offers going forward, you don't think he needs that on the team?
Well, Tuchel discussed the strength of set pieces for the team. And on that basis, I felt, why would you then leave out Trent? He can take some fantastic free kicks, whip some really strong deliveries into the box, and also Harry Maguire, who defends his own box really well and can also attack opposition's boxes really well too. So those two players that I thought, wow. But Trent, I could understand from the first initial 26-man squad, and then Livramento gets injured and he pulls from the squad, and you bring in Chalobah, who is a centre half at trade. He's not going to be playing at right back at all. So that cover there from right back gets really limited. I know Jarrell Quansah played at right back during one of our friendlies, but if Reece James gets injured, it's not looking great. Player of Trent's ability, and obviously he's won the Premier League, he's won the Champions League. He knows how to win trophies, which is ultimately what we need in the squad. He's not had the greatest season, but he's a player with a lot of quality. Again, do you then take Trent, and then everyone's questions, well, the reason you're taking Trent is because he's a world-class player on his day, just like Phil Foden, just like Cole Palmer are. So I'm backing Tuchel in his decisions. I think he's tried to build a squad that brings a lot of harmony. They're all obviously good friends, a lot of them. Majority of them have played a lot of football together already. And we're obviously starting to see that gel now quickly in the team. And I think Tuchel touched on the fact that he's brought in players to really know their role within the squad. If that brings us the World Cup, then I'm all for it.
Hey, yeah, it's all about building a cohesive squad. I mean, why else is Hendo still on the team? Right? I mean,
Exactly.
he played well this season, but Henderson?
Yeah, over Adam Wharton, which is the one where I was really surprised. You
I
know?
get Ellie Anderson. I was surprised that he started, but he
Okay.
kind of showed why he
Yeah.
deserved to start.
Yeah.
I told you he was going to start. That midfield was the exact midfield that I picked out, and you and Michael were like, that's not happening. It happened.
That's neither here nor there. You're right. Tuchel's building a team that's not just loaded with superstars like France, but this is a true winning team. You don't have guys who are world beaters, but they're very, very good. And they, like you said, they know their role. And I'm starting to buy into the fact that they could do it. I do still think Spain, but it's a very impressive
Yeah.
English side.
And I would agree with you. I think prior to this tournament starting, I had Spain bang on as my favourites. But the performance against Cape Verde just... It does seem like they're going to heavily rely on Yamal. Like I've said, I'm a Barcelona fan. That team has got 8 Barcelona players in. So, deep down, I'm kind of like, I want those guys to succeed. But, if Pedri, Yamal, and Rodri are on their game, then they can win any match between the 3 of those guys. Obviously, Argentina as well. I really had low hopes for them this summer, but he's just a joke. And he's just unbelievable,
He
man.
keeps doing it.
Hats off to the guy. Maybe being in the States is kind of gone in his favor.
He's basically found a way to extend his career. Maybe he gave himself another World Cup after this.
Possibly. That's a stretch.
Hey, man, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am surprised, though, about Tuchel's decision. What does that say about people like Shaw, Maguire, Trent? How far are they down on the pecking order where people are getting hurt and he's still bringing in other people out of position? That says a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of their England careers, are probably over, to be honest. I don't see how Maguire must be 32, 33 years old at least, and Shaw similar. I can't see how they will get any better going forward in their careers to them merit a position on the team. I think Tuchel did comfortably say that Maguire's always been about his 5th or 6th choice centre half for England. So I think he has laid that expectations with Maguire early on. Nico O'Reilly's definitely going as your number 1 left back, because what an amazing season he had. He's Young Player of the Year. And then it was around Lewis Hall possibly as well. But, Jed Spence going, I was shocked. And then obviously that means Luke Shaw misses out, which is crazy. But Trent's probably still got half a chance, I think, if he has a good season next year with Real Madrid. But is he going to be the starting right back with Denzel Dumfries going?
That's the question.
Does he need to come back to English football? Does he need to have a different challenge elsewhere where he can then start, 35, 36 games of a season and actually put him back in that window shop picture for the England team?
I think individual performance has to get removed from club performance when you're trying to pick your international team, right? That's just what you have to do as a manager. But Dutch Spence over Hall? Really?
Yeah, I can't get my head around it. And I think Tuchel mentioned in the friendlies that they had in March, it was like, Jed, this is your last opportunity. If you don't perform well in these next two friendly games, you're not going to the World Cup. And he did play well, but there's, I think it was 45 minutes and then like another 20, 30 minutes in the other game, merit going to the World Cup over Lewis Hall.
It was a scared decision, I feel like,
Yeah.
but Tuchel's not a guy who's willing to make the big, hard calls.
No, in my opinion, it's not. But again, he does bring some versatility. With Trent not going, he could cover a right back. Maybe Jed brings something off the pitch that we're not seeing and we're not, accessible to.
What I'm hearing is that they brought Jed Spence for like one-on-one coverage. If they come up against an Mbappe, a Yamal, they're just gonna have a man mark him.
Come on.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, but you wouldn't risk just putting that one guy up against them. He's quick, but that's it.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I know you said you were backing Tuchel earlier. I know there's some controversy and some debate. I'm sure you've heard and been a part of it as well. Of should the England manager be English?
Do you know, I had this discussion with my girlfriend the other day. We were watching an England game together. It was just us two. And she was like, who's this new manager? And I said, it's Thomas Tuchel. He's German. And she's like, he's German. Oh my God, what's he done before? And I said, don't you think all international managers should be native to that country? It just blows my mind. And she said, well, who would we have as an England manager? And then it, sparks a huge debate around that. Like, what English manager have we got that would bring it home?
Graham Potter, dude, obviously.
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe probably is your biggest shout, which
Yeah,
is
That's a good call.
is not good enough, is it? He's not a world class name. Thomas Tuchel's going to win a Champions League. He's done it at PSG. He's done it at Chelsea. He's a top manager. I think could be the right man for the job in what we've got in this day and age now with the England team. It is a lot different from that golden generation. Everybody is friends with one another. Obviously, there's club rivalries, but you don't ever see that on the pitch, whereas you used to massively. So I think he's got a group of players that one will help him massively, but also he will massively help them.
Maybe it's just us, Joey. But I think we're a lot more open to it being an international manager. Possibly because if we just relied on American managers, we'd be screwed. So we need all the help we can get.
Yeah, we'd have no chance. Marsh would be cool to have, but that's about all we'd get out of it. I think it's cool if your nation does have a world-class elite manager that you can appoint to be your national team manager, but I feel like it shouldn't matter, really. If you deserve the job, you should take the job.
It's true, yeah. And I was just thinking in my head then, has a foreign manager ever won the World Cup with a different, nationality to their actual team? I don't think there has been. Maybe that's why teams don't win it when they have a foreign manager.
It's the curse.
Who knows?
The curse of the
Who
foreign manager.
knows?
Earlier, you were talking about harmony in the camp. I had a couple questions. Jude Bellingham was injured leading up to the World Cup. So Morgan Rogers was playing in that 10 role for the longest time. A lot of people actually expected Morgan Rogers to be the starting 10, and then Jude starts in that spot. Also, Gordon and Rashford's situation. Rashford's been at Barca the entire year, but Gordon gets that move. So do you think it's all harmonious in there? Or you think there's like a slight grudge between the players?
No. Yeah, you've got players who arguably should be playing over one another, but that's what makes a good squad. It gives difficult decisions to the manager. But I wouldn't say there would be any bad blood between one another. I think everybody's part of a group which they want to see succeed. You've probably got players that have been left at home that still want England to go win the World Cup because it's their country.
Now, do you think the game has missed a little bit of that nastiness? For example, not just within the England camp, but also you look at back in 2006 when Rooney and the whole Portugal thing and Ronaldo winked and smiled. Remember that? So Do you think the game's missing that?
I think it's missing it from a kind of a contact playing sort of element. I don't think you're missing anything nasty as in like within the group or anything like that. But yeah, definitely from the game. But that's probably through rules and laws of the game changing quite rapidly, trying to protect players from being injured. And the amount of times I've seen really top clean tackles, which have come with force, and it's a free kick, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
How has that been given as a foul? It's so frustrating. And I get it, you could be endangering the player, but did the player get injured? No. So it's a clean tackle, play on. So it can be frustrating, especially with VAR now. Everything is scrutinized, absolutely every minor detail. We probably get majority decisions correct. However, it kills the game a little bit. And that's probably why the nastiness is gone, because they're constantly on the camera. Anything that happens is going to get picked up on. So why take the risk of getting yourself sent off and missing, big games? It just wouldn't make sense for a player to do that.
I want to go back to what you said about backing Tuchel and saying there's harmony within the squad really quick. Madueke starting over Saka.
Yeah. Wild decision, to be honest. But it was his discussion point again of Madueke even going to the World Cup. But he's probably a player that is a lot more direct than Saka. He likes to really get down to the byline, whip a ball into the box. And when you've got Bellingham and Kane in that 6-yard box attacking the ball, it kind of makes sense. Especially with, somebody like Gordon as well, who likes to drift wide and really take a player on and cut ball backs into the box, more so than Rashford, who likes to cut inside and take shots at goal himself. So I think it's good that you've got that blend of two different players that can play out there. Saka and Madueke both play for Arsenal. The likelihood is that they've got a really good relationship, but they both bring different things to the team. And I think Tuchel's clearly maybe gone more from a tactical base of Croatia, the way they're set up. Maybe it's better to have Madueke on. If it's not working, then it's an opportunity to change things around and flip how we play to then cause more problems to the Croatians. So it's a good thing to have those different type of players.
Clearly, Joey, you hate Madueke.
I don't hate Madueke. I just think it's a crazy call, dude. It's a tough call.
I've liked Madueke. I don't know how many times I got to tell you, Joey. I think he's very direct. Billy, you hit the nail on the head. He's not afraid, even if he's going up against the best left back in the world, he will still try and take him on. He might only make it 1 out of 10 times, but he's going. And maybe that's why Saka was benched. Maybe Tuchel's trying to send a message to him, be like, dude, be more aggressive like the player you used to be and start taking people on versus just recycling it. This season, everybody knows, was a poor standard for Saka compared to his normal one. So I don't see the crazy shout putting him over Saka.
No, I completely agree. And I think the landscape of football now and the landscape of wingers is changing. We're going back to having proper wingers who take players on. And if you watch any game, the amount of times that wingers take on their fullbacks, there is more chances of goals being scored. And watching the Spain game with Cape Verde, nobody was taking anyone on. It was getting it out wide and bringing it back inside. And it was that repetitive recycle. And I was screaming at the TV, just saying, take him on, just give it a go, because you might lose the ball, but you're going to win it back. That then creates a much more enjoyable experience for the fans. How many times did we see Neymar, Ronaldinho, the players that had so much flair, actually take players on and get fans off of their seats, and the whole stadium would make a big loud roar and the game would change like that. And that's why they call the fans the 12th man, because they can really add that extra element. And I think you'll see it in the World Cup now. If players are taking people on, the crowd will get behind it and it will create more success for teams.
Yeah, we've had a conversation about that, right, Joey, about the games losing the Mavericks. And people are just so pragmatic now in the way they play. We've lost players like Neymar, Ronaldinho. You have a couple left, Turkey, right? You have a couple left, but it's not the same. And they're not encouraged to take those people on.
It's the success Pep has had with his systems. At times has encouraged those Mavericks to take players on, but as he's just gotten older and grown, as the game has grown, he doesn't want that anymore. It's very robotic at times, and it's worked. The game's adapted and copied Pep, so it's just only going to correct itself. Young kids want to take everyone on again. They saw young Messi, Ronaldo at the time when they were willing to dribble past everybody, take on 4 or 5 guys. It's always going to come back around. It's a cycle. That's what football is. That's what sports is. Everything always comes back around at some point.
Definitely, yeah.
And before we move on from Saka, I want to ask you, Billy, because I don't want to speak for Joey here, but I don't see what the big hype is around Saka. He's good, but people compare him to like Mo Salah. They're saying they would take him over prime BBC at Real Madrid, over MSN at Barca. I don't understand where all this is coming from. And it's not just Arsenal fans, but a lot of English fans.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think Saka's in that elite world class category. I think he's very good, and obviously he's Arsenal's star boy. So he's always going to have that label around him, especially when in the Premier League. He wears a captain's armband. But yeah, I wouldn't class him as a player who fits in the top elites in the world. I don't see him in the top 5 right wingers of the world. I don't see him in the top 10 attacking footballers in the world. So I definitely think he's been put on a pedestal through the Arsenal fans. But again, he does do well. He does score goals. His stats aren't horrendous. So, you can't then not say he isn't top player. I'm somebody who loves to watch people proper take them on, and Yamal is that new prodigy of exciting football. Like he doesn't have that electric kind of feeling to it. He hasn't got the aura. I'd say Kane is the most important for us. Declan Rice, Bellingham. I'd probably even go Pickford is over Saka in terms of importance to this England team. Madueke did a job. We didn't miss Saka.
I don't even want to say it's all right. I think you hit the nail on the head when you just named all the guys. Harry Kane has been the best number 9 in the world for quite some time. And if someone screams lack of aura and swag, I think it'd be Harry Kane. No offense to English, but he's about as English as it gets, right? He's just, he's proper English.
Yeah,
He
he's a
doesn't
proper.
have the aura. Bellingham kind of has some aura to him. Jordan Pickford has aura to him. Come on. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, I get you. I do get you. I think he's clearly quite humble.
I
Yeah,
think they're just that much better at their positions than what Saka is. Most of them aren't world class by any means. Like the bar, Harry Kane. Again, Harry Kane's the best 9 in the world. But like Saka's not that guy. I never saw the hype. I think he probably at some point is going to take the Ashley Young route and just go back to being a traditional left back. It's just inevitable at some point, just given how he likes to play. He'd be a great attacking left back, but he just doesn't have that umph. He doesn't inspire you. I don't buy into it, Arsenal. Sorry. Still don't.
I definitely would agree on that. It would interest you say back at left back, maybe left wing, and if we like to see teams put balls into the box as a left-footed player, maybe that's
But I
an
mean,
option.
you still have Gordon there for quite some time.
Yeah,
And I'd say Gordon might be a little faster than Saka. I
definitely
mean,
quicker. Yeah,
Gordon stayed healthier than Saka stayed healthy. There's a gap in left back. I see it happening, bro. You can call me crazy, but I'll put a bet on it.
I like it. I like the optimism.
Now, if you had to pinpoint one thing, Billy, for England's biggest strength and one for the biggest weakness, what would you say that is?
Biggest strength, I would think, is the fact we've got Harry Kane. Generally, I do think there's a lot of weight on his shoulders. I do think that's probably where we will have any chance of winning this tournament. Joey, you said he's been the best number 9 in the world for the past few years, and I don't think you can even think anyone's actually close to him. He is so good at everything. I think that will be our shining light of this tournament. He's already gone and won a golden boot at the last World Cup, so let's hope he does it again and it's enough to bring it home. From a weakness, I think it's probably going to be a little bit of us having quite a young team and that inexperience. Yes, we've got some players that have been in the last few groups and have gone far in tournaments, but I think there is a lack of experience, especially at centre half. Ezri Konsa's not played top level football for a long period of time. John Stones is getting on a bit. Mark Guehi hasn't played a lot of top quality football. So at the core of our defence, it's not great. Reece James has terrible injury record and we've got very little cover for him. Nico O'Reilly's had one fantastic season at Manchester City. So that backline straight away does ring alarm bells. And, a really old Croatian side was able to score 2 goals against us. What does Mbappe do against us? What does Yamal do against us? What does Messi do against us? That's where we're going to really struggle. And if we don't see some sort of tightening up of that backline, that will be our downfall.
On Harry Kane, do you think it was kind of strategic for him to move to Bayern Munich so that way they play only 34 games a season in the domestic league? They have that month off during winter, so it builds his confidence, gives him more rest. There's no denying he's in the form of his life right now. But do you think there's something to play into that? Why he chose that move to Bayern?
I don't think so. I think the guy wouldn't have gone to a different English team. I think he's got a bit too much love for Spurs, and let's be real, Spurs are never going to win the Premier League ever.
Hey, man.
And the
Don't tell them
guy,
that.
yeah, we'll delete that one out. But he's obviously gone to Bayern Munich, top team. 89% of the time they're going to be winning the Bundesliga. But I don't think it plays into the fact that they have fewer games and you've got the winter break, because I thought they were going to go to the Champions League final. I thought they were going to turn PSG over. And so he would have been playing up until the 31st of May anyway. I don't think it's intentional or anything like that. I think he could have gone to any top team in the world. And regardless of where he went, he was still going to be the best player in the world. And I think he'll get a Ballon d'Or if England win the World Cup.
I mean, my hot take is regardless, Harry Kane should be the Ballon d'Or for this season. If France wins the World Cup, maybe Elise would deserve it, looking at the entire club season plus World Cup. If Spain wins it, I couldn't tell you on God's green earth who deserves that World Cup, man. It's the same thing for Brazil, right? So, like, looking at it just across nation to nation, the only player I think really justifies it is Harry Kane. Even if England doesn't win this World Cup, he's been by far the best player in the world this season.
You
Yeah.
think he'll get it over Declan Rice?
So the Golden Boot race in the World Cup has been crazy. Brian Robbie grabbing 2 yesterday. Messi just pulling a hat trick out of nowhere, and Jonathan David just remembering how to play football finally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This might be a fun World Cup. I don't think any game's been really a disappointment so far.
No, game week 1 has been exceptional. Been really, really good. And like you say, players scoring goals. I didn't expect all of these players on 2 or 3 goals already after one game. And some of them played quite tough opposition in their group already. So it's not like England have played Panama and Kane scored 2 goals in that. You know, he's played Croatia, the toughest team we were going to have in the group stage. Possibly one of the toughest games we'll have until the quarterfinals. So if he continues that, then could we see a double-digit top goal scorer? Has that ever happened? That's never happened, I don't think, has it? And that would be
Yeah, I don't think so.
incredible.
That's someone
Hey.
at 10?
Maybe.
Come on, man.
Maybe.
No way.
It's an extra game, this World Cup. It's 8 games. You know, that only needs to be a goal a game plus 1 or 2 others elsewhere.
I mean, that's true, but I think, as soon as you get out of the group stage, that's when teams start truly planning for you, and they want to start isolating and locking down your goal-scoring threats.
However, though, you look at Kane. If he scores a goal against Ghana, he could bag a hat-trick against Panama.
You said if?
Yeah. Wow, exactly. So if he does it, he'll be on 6 goals, wouldn't he? And we're not even in the knockouts. He's then got another 5 games to score 4 goals. It could happen.
They'll probably rest him that last group stage match, though.
Yeah, true. Especially if we've won both games. Yeah, there will be a rest. Unless he's determined to be out there and he wants every goal he can get. So you never know.
What I really hope is that it stays so open like this. No one was trying to put 9-10 behind the ball and say we're just gonna hope and pray against these big teams. Haiti tried to play. Cape Verde tried to play. Like they try to play against these teams.
All right, final question for you, Billy. How does this team stack against the Golden Generation?
It's a great question. So on paper, probably not as good. You had Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, Gary Neville, Ashley Cole. Straight away, that back four is insane. You've got then the midfield of Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard. Again, wow, you know, a real top 3 midfield. And then you've got Rooney up front. You've got David Beckham on the wing. You've got Joe Cole. That team on paper, outstanding. But clearly there was an issue. There was clearly something that didn't enable them to get far in a competition. So this team has gone a lot deeper into a competition before. There's clearly more of, like I say, that harmony. There's a lack of ego. I don't think you see that much anymore. There's not the club rivalry side, like I mentioned earlier on in the show. A lot of them may have played together at academy level and then they disperse off. They all go on holidays together. Even if you play for Man United and Man City, you're still probably friends are United and Liverpool or Chelsea and Arsenal. They all get along, and there's a less potential feuds between the camps. So I think that's what's gonna take the team further. But yeah, I'm a guy for nostalgia, so I do love that golden generation. I do love the retro kits. I got an Umbro kit from I think it's 2008, maybe. I love that period of time because it's when I grew up watching football as a young kid. But this team is a better team.
I think to this team's benefit, international football has exploded since the golden generation. There's a U18 World Cup, U17, U21 World Cup, right? So, like you said, these guys have all grown up with each other, not even from an academy standpoint, just internationally. They've played
Yeah,
together for probably 10 plus years now at this point, versus you go back to the 90s and the early 2000s when the golden generation is playing. You're playing at United or you're playing at Liverpool, you're playing at Chelsea, and you sit and fester and hate and hate and hate for an entire season. And then say, hey guys, it's Euros time, it's World Cup time.
yeah.
Here's your new midfield partner. You're like, I fucking hate these guys. And I have to play with them now? What are we talking about? So I think if the golden generation did have what this era does have growing up together, without a doubt, they would have won Euros, World Cup, anything and everything. But like you said, this team on paper is not better than them. No way.
Harry Kane, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
over Joe Cole, yeah.
Well, yeah, it depends on where you're playing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would definitely get into that side. But yeah, no one else really. So yeah, on paper they were like Galacticos.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is like a lot of people are let down by the golden generation of England. However, you look at the teams they were playing against. The Spain 2010, you had the strong Italian sides and German sides and the Brazilian sides back in the day. It was their golden generations too. Not to give them an excuse, but look at the competition that they're facing now. I think it's a little bit easier for them now to make it than it was then.
I'm not against it, but yeah, like you say, football evolves and everyone's slightly different to what they were back then.
I mean, I think the competition's probably it's still just as deep, it's still fierce. Everyone's kind of at that same point. Germany has a lot of aging superstars, and they're full of young guys, just like England. Look at Spain, same exact thing. Argentina, same thing. Brazil, they brought freaking Neymar to the World Cup. I think the quality is just not as good. And the individual talent is probably not there compared to it was in World Cups past. But to say that it's easier now for these guys, I just no way.
Yeah, there's not enough poster boys like there used to be.
You have any final thoughts, final words, Billy?
Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate your time, guys. I obviously keep enjoying the World Cup. It's coming home. It's coming home, baby.
We'll see.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we have time for on Tiki Talka today. If you guys like this video, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss an episode. Thank you, Billy, for coming on. And we'll see you on the next one of Tiki Talka.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Later.